At some point, someone told you that you lose brain cells every day. Maybe a teacher said it. Maybe it was a warning about drinking too much. Maybe it was just something everyone repeats without ever checking if it's true. And once you hear it, it's hard to unhear. Because it doesn't just sound like a biology fact. It sounds like a countdown. If you're losing brain cells every single day, and those cells never come back, then somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet question starts forming. Is your brain slowly running out? Is the sharper, quicker version of you already fading, one cell at a time? Here's the truth about that fear. You were never really afraid of losing neurons. You were afraid of losing yourself. Your memories. Your personality. Your ability to think clearly under pressure. The cells were just the messenger. The real fear was becoming less capable than you were yesterday. So let's actually look at what's happening inside your brain, because the real story is far stranger, and far more reassuring, than the myth you grew up with. Reveal 1. Some neurons genuinely do die. This part of the myth isn't invented. Neurons can be damaged by injury, by certain toxins, and yes, heavy alcohol use over time can harm brain tissue. So if part of you assumed there was some truth buried in this myth, you were right. But that's only the first layer of a much bigger picture. Reveal 2. Not every part of your brain behaves the same way. For decades, scientists believed the entire brain followed one simple rule. Cells die, and nothing replaces them. But different regions turned out to have very different rules. Some areas are far more rigid. Others are surprisingly flexible. Treating the whole brain as one uniform, slowly draining battery was never accurate. Reveal 3, and this is where the story starts to shift. In certain regions of the brain, especially the hippocampus, an area deeply involved in memory and learning, new neurons can actually form throughout adulthood. Scientists call this neurogenesis, and it means your brain isn't only capable of losing cells. In specific places, it's also capable of growing them. This doesn't mean unlimited new neurons everywhere, all the time. It's a specific, ongoing process happening in specific places. But it completely breaks the idea that your brain can only decline, and never rebuild. Reveal 4. Here's something that matters even more than the raw number of neurons you have. The connections between them. Your brain isn't just a collection of individual cells. It's a living network, and the strength of that network depends on how well its connections work together. This is where something called synaptic pruning comes in. Your brain constantly removes weak or unused connections, almost like clearing overgrown branches so the strongest pathways can function more efficiently. This isn't damage. It's maintenance. A brain that prunes well often functions better, not worse, because it's optimizing the network instead of letting it grow cluttered and inefficient. So the real measure of a sharp mind was never simply how many neurons you have left. It's how well they're connected, and how efficiently your brain uses what it's built. Reveal 5, and this might be the most important one. Your brain doesn't just lose cells, grow some back, and prune a few connections. It's constantly reorganizing itself, for your entire life. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, and it means your brain can strengthen certain pathways, weaken others, and reroute how information travels, in response to what you learn, what you practice, and even how you sleep. Every time you learn a new skill, recover from an injury, or build a new habit, you're witnessing neuroplasticity in action. Your brain isn't a fixed structure slowly wearing down. It's an adaptive system, actively responding to the life you're living. So here's what actually happens inside your brain, all at once. Some neurons die. Some new ones grow, in specific places. Weak connections get pruned away. Strong ones get reinforced. And through all of it, your brain keeps reorganizing itself, day after day, adjusting to whatever you experience. That's not a machine slowly breaking down. That's a living system, constantly adapting, repairing, and rebuilding itself, in real time. Which means the version of yourself you're afraid of losing isn't disappearing on some fixed countdown. Your brain is still forming new pathways when you learn something unfamiliar. It's still pruning away what you no longer need. It's still capable of change, at almost any age. You were never a battery running down to zero. You're something closer to a city that never stops being built, torn down, and rebuilt in the places that matter most. And once you see your brain that way, the old fear starts to lose its grip. Because the question was never really whether you lose brain cells every day. The real question is whether your mind is still capable of adapting. And the answer, for almost everyone, almost every day, is yes.